Have you ever, like, really listened to the kind of questions we ask women? It's like as soon as you hit a certain age, bam,
Yeah.
everyone's asking, so when are you having kids?
Right. Like it's just assumed part of the plan.
Exactly. Driver's license? Check. Career? Check. Baby carriage? Wait, what? You haven't even thought about it yet.
And that's when things get, well, complicated. Because what happens when that assumed timeline isn't a reality? When the when turns into a giant question mark?
It's a conversation people shy away from. But we're diving right in.
We're going deep with this excerpt from Edelon's Unmother the Woman.
It's raw, it's honest. Get ready, because this one hits hard. We're talking about infertility, the struggles, the silence, and the immense pressure women face.
It's so much more than just the medical side, you know? This excerpt, it throws you right into this whirlwind of emotions.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Right from the start, you meet this woman, she's full of hope, excited about starting a family. You can practically feel that warmth, that joy radiating from her.
Yeah, and the way E. Dillon writes it, at first it's all bright colors, pure optimism. But then this shadow starts creeping in.
Yeah, time.
Exactly. But it's not just time passing, right? It's like this relentless thief, that's what she calls it, stealing away her happiness bit by bit.
Ugh, relentless thief. It packs a punch, doesn't it? One minute, it's all dreams and possibilities. The next, you're left picking up the pieces. Shards of broken dreams is how she puts it.
And it's a loss that's often so minimized, isn't it? Like it's not a tangible thing, not something you can hold in your hand.
But emotionally, it's huge. This loss of hope of this future you imagined. It's devastating.
Absolutely. And as if dealing with that wasn't tough enough, the excerpt shifts gears. Suddenly, it's not just internal. The weight of everyone else's expectations comes crashing down.
Oh, man. First you see it with her husband. He starts out so supportive. But then there's this change.
It's subtle, the way E. Dillon does it. His initial excitement, it slowly morphs into this quiet disappointment. You can picture him looking at her, and there's this sadness in his eyes.
It breaks your heart. I mean, you get where he's coming from, the pain he must be feeling, too. But that shift in his gaze, it's like salt in the wound.
And then it's not just him. It's like the whole world becomes this minefield of triggers. She talks about avoiding parks, seeing happy families.
And it's not just a fleeting, oh, that's nice kind of thing for her, is it? It's visceral, like a punch to the gut, a constant reminder of what she wants so badly but can't seem to have.
And then there are those well-meaning friends and family members, but they're questions. Each one, like a little jab. When you having kids, don't wait too long.
Ugh. It's like their words just chip away at her piece by piece, making her question her own worth.
It's an insidious thing about societal expectations, right? They worm their way into everything. Suddenly, your value as a woman is all tied up in this one thing, motherhood.
And if that doesn't go according to plan, talk about isolating. It can be emotionally crushing.
And that's where this excerpt goes even deeper, I think. It's not just about wanting a child. It's about how that longing starts to impact everything. Her sense of self, her identity, even her own body.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like her body goes from this source of pride, of potential, to this battleground. Every month, another reminder of what's not happening.
Like her body's this separate entity, right? Something she doesn't recognize anymore, constantly being scrutinized, judged, both by her and by society.
Trapped in this cycle of hope and despair, and her body's bearing the brunt of it. You can feel the emotional toll it's taking.
It's brutal. So many women go through this with infertility. And what I love about this excerpt is that it doesn't sugarcoat it. That rawness, that desperation, the feeling that your own body is betraying you, it's all there.
And it's like that feeling of betrayal is made worse by how we talk about motherhood. It's not just that our body isn't doing what it should, but somehow that gets twisted into this personal failing.
Exactly. There's this pressure to find a solution, a quick fix, as if her body's a machine that just needs a tune-up. And you see that desperation in the excerpt, the way she throws herself into treatments, each one bringing its own set of challenges.
And just when you think it can't get any tougher, the excerpt shows how much this is impacting her marriage. Her husband's frustration is building. You can sense the cracks forming in their relationship. And then she just throws in this line, almost like it's an afterthought. Are you even trying? Nah, that hit me hard. You can practically hear the resentment creeping into their relationship.
Right. Talk about loaded. It's like on the surface, he's asking about her actions, right? But underneath, it betrays this whole assumption that having a baby is a choice. Like it's a goal you achieve just by wanting it enough.
As if it's all about willpower. Just try harder, honey, and poof, a baby. It completely ignores the emotional roller coaster, the physical toll. The very real possibility that some things are just out of your control.
Exactly. And that's what's so messed up about these societal expectations. It's like this woman's entire being, her worth, is boiled down to this one thing: motherhood.
In the excerpt, it doesn't shy away from how she feels that pressure, too. There's that line: she had defined herself by this pursuit, this quest to give life, and in failing, she felt she had lost herself. It's like her whole identity got tangled up with this one aspect of her life, and when it didn't work out, she was left adrift.
It's tragic, but it's something so many women facing infertility talk about. This feeling of being incomplete, inadequate, like they're failing at being a woman because their body won't cooperate.
The world's holding up this funhouse mirror, you know, twisting everything around. And the isolation that comes with that, oof, it's got to be brutal.
Brutal is the right word. And the way E. Dillon captures that isolation in the excerpt, she uses those words: shadow, whisper. It's like this woman is disappearing piece by piece, consumed by the struggle.
It's tough to read, no question. But like you said earlier, it's so important for women to know they're not alone in this, that their worth, their value, doesn't hinge on whether or not they have kids.
100%. And that's what I think is so powerful about the turn the excerpt takes next. We get to this pivotal moment. She's in her garden, surrounded by all these flowers she's let wither, and she breaks down. But here's the thing. She's not crying for the child she couldn't have. She's crying for herself.
You can feel that release, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
This raw, unfiltered grief she's been holding back, finally breaking free.
And that's where it shifts, right? Up until now, her pain has been so tied up in everyone else, her husband, society. But in this moment, it's just her grief, her experience.
And that's when she makes this huge decision to unmother herself. Talk about a loaded phrase.
So loaded. Like, what does that even mean? Is she rejecting the pressure to be a mother? Is it about reclaiming her identity as a woman, but not defined by motherhood?
Right. E. Dillon doesn't spell it out for us, does she? It's like she's leaving you open for interpretation, which I kind of love. Because in the end, it's about this woman deciding what unmothering means for her life.
And I think that's the biggest takeaway, honestly. It's about recognizing that you get to decide who you are, what your path looks like, not society, not some expectation.
It's about grabbing the pen back, and writing your own damn story.
Yeah.
And in the excerpt, we see that so beautifully in those last few lines. She talks about writing again, but not about the love she lost, about the love she found. In herself, in something as simple as a flower blooming when no one thought it could. It really is. It sticks with you, You've got this woman, she's been through the ringer, and she finds peace. Not in some fairy tale ending, but in nature. In watching something grow against all odds.
It's like that's where her strength comes from, right? Not from fitting into some mold, but from embracing her own journey, her own unique way of blooming.
And it kind of reminds us that sometimes those curveballs life throws at you, they lead you right where you're supposed to be. Might not be the destination you had in mind.
But it turns out to be exactly what you needed. And this excerpt, it really drives that home, doesn't it? Like, your worth. It's not about checking boxes, not about external achievements or whether or not you become a mother.
It's about owning your own story, finding your own version of happiness.
And sometimes that means letting go of the plan, embracing the unexpected. Just like this woman, she finds peace, not in traditional motherhood, but in nurturing her own creativity.
It's like she gives herself permission to redefine what really matters.
Exactly. And that can be the toughest part, honestly. Letting go of those expectations, choosing yourself, even if it means disappointing others.
It takes guts to reclaim your narrative.
Yeah.
To say, this is my story, and I'm writing it my way.
And you know what? Sometimes those plot twists, they lead to the most beautiful chapters.
This whole deep dive into Unmother the Woman, it's been a lot. Powerful, thought-provoking, and, a little heartbreaking at times.
Definitely. But there's so much hope woven in too, right? It reminds us that the most important journey, the bravest one, it's the journey inward.
So, to everyone listening, think about this. What expectations are you holding on to that aren't serving you anymore? What would it look like to unmother those expectations, to give yourself the freedom to write your own story?
No, that's something to think about. Thanks for having me, by the way. This has been great.
Always a pleasure. And to everyone tuning in, thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Keep those wheels turning. Keep asking the tough questions. And until next time, keep writing your own extraordinary stories.